title for our talk this evening is I'm Coming Out. I thought you'd be more excited about that. I'll talk to this side, Lamar. The title for the talk tonight, Javaris, is I'm Nephew, the title for the talk Y'all getting ahead of me. Y'all, I tell y'all real piped up tonight. Y'all need to chill. I don't know what y'all took before y'all came to Chosen tonight, but y'all real. I don't know how I'm gonna preach tonight because it's my first time wearing a turtleneck since I was 8, so we'll. I wore turtlenecks so much that I didn't even care when they came back and stuff. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But then I saw some purple label and I said, I gotta get. Anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. I lost focus. The message for this evening is I'm coming out. I don't know if you've seen Godfather 3. But there was a moment in the film where Al Pacino, who plays the Godfather, where in the third rendition of the Godfather, he was really trying to change his life. He had spent the bulk of his life being a gangster and running the most powerful crime family in the United States and beyond. But he had gotten to the point in his walk where he no longer had peace with his lifestyle. I don't know if you've ever been there where you've done some things and then God begins to convict you and you want to change, but it's a struggle. And he's so close to being able to come out. He's made one of the biggest business deals of his gangster career. And what he does in this big family meeting where he brings all the other leaders of the crime families together and he begins to share some of the profits from this business deal with the other heads of the family. So he cuts a check for 40 million to one. He cuts another check for like 60 to another. I don't remember the numbers. They were just astronomical numbers. And he was doing this because he didn't want any hard feelings when he changed his life. Well, it was during this scene that somebody puts a hit out on him and tries to murder him unsuccessfully. And it's in this scene where he's talking to his nephew. And he tells his nephew something that you have probably told a close friend. He says, I thought I was out, but they pulled me back in. I was so close to being able to change my life. I thought I was out, but they pulled. I was done. I cut these big checks, but they tried to kill me, and I don't know if I can let that go. I said I was going to do better with my health in 2022. And somebody let the devil use them and invited me to Juicy Crab. I thought I was out. And they pulled me back in. I said I was done. Matter of fact, I finally got the courage to cut them off. I knew they were toxic. I knew they were no good. I knew that they were not a part of God's purpose and plan for my life. I finally got the courage to let them go. And then this lonely night, I get a DM. And once I thought I was out, Brennan, they pulled me back in. I was doing good with my budget. And then the sneaker app hit me and told me they were about to drop. I mean, how many colorways can you come out with? But it's like every single time you gotta. I was good, I was saving. I said I was good for the summer, and then they pull me back in. I don't know what your testimony is, but I'm sure there's been some seasons of struggle in your life where you wanted to do better, you wanted to grow, you wanted to mature, you wanted to be different, but every time you began to take a step forward, it was like you were taking a step back. There's a story I want to share with you, and the story opens up with us in John chapter 11. Jesus hears about some trouble that some of his close friends are going through. They come to Jesus with their struggle. They come to him and they say, chapter 1, a man named Lazarus was sick, and he lived in Bethany with his sisters Mary and Martha. This is Mary who later poured the expensive perfume on the Lord's feet and wiped them with her hair. Her brother Lazarus was sick. So the two sisters sent a message to Jesus telling him, Lord, your dear friend, your homeboy, the one that you kick it with, is very sick. But when Jesus heard about it, he said, Lazarus' sickness will not end in death. No, it happened for the glory. I could stop right there and teach for the next 45 minutes. I won't do it. But that phrase is packed with so much power. You sick, but it happened for the glory. If life isn't going the way that you planned it to go, but it happened for the glory. I'm struggling right now with some stuff, and I've been praying about it for a real long time, and I'm wondering why God won't move. I'm wondering why God isn't answering my prayers. I'm wondering why every time I get on my knees, it feels like my prayer is hitting the ceiling. Let me help you. It could be God let it happen for the glory. It's not going to end the way you think it's going to end. So although Jesus loved Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, he stayed where he was for the next 2 days. He loved them, so he didn't move. Just because you're not getting the answer that you think you should get Don't get it twisted. It doesn't mean that God doesn't love you. Just because he's not showing up the way that you thought he should show up doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Just because he didn't heal her, just because he didn't pay the bill, just because he let him leave you, just because your kid won't act the way that you want him to act, just because the divorce paperwork got signed anyway, just because it didn't turn out according to your plan, doesn't mean he doesn't love you. He loved him, so he didn't move. This is hard teaching because we got folk going through some real stuff. So this just isn't empty rhetoric. It hurts when we don't get the answer we're expecting. But sometimes love means let some stuff happen. Because your story is for my glory. And I may get more glory through the intervention than I will the prevention. If I stop it, you won't praise me because you didn't know it was coming. So sometimes I gotta let some stuff happen because I'll get more praise from the intervention than I would the prevention. So I love you, so I'm not moving. You prayed. They said word, but he wouldn't go. Jesus cold-blooded, y'all. This was his friend. Lazarus, this was his homeboy. When Jesus saw her weeping and saw the other people wailing with her, now Jesus is pulling up on the scene. At this point, Lazarus' sickness has turned to death. So Jesus rolls up on the scene and they hear people wailing, and with deep anger within him begins to well up because he was deeply troubled. Where have you put him? He asked. They told him, Lord, come see. Then one of the shortest scriptures in the Bible, John 11:35, then Jesus wept. The people who were standing nearby said, see how much he loved him. I don't think Jesus was crying because he loved him. Let me tell you why I think that. Because he said a few verses before that it wasn't going to end in death. So why am I crying about something that's not permanent? I believe Jesus was crying because here is the Son of God and folk can't see it. You're crying, yet here I am. It's like crying about being broke and having a $100,000 check in your pocket that you won't cash. I think he is mad, angry, because folk are mourning when they should be making a move. See, this is for the passive folk. Some of us spend time in mourning when we could be making a move. I feel Jesus on this because I get deeply troubled when I hear folk complain about stuff that they want to change, but they won't make a move. You're not pleased with your health, but you won't eat any different. You want to make more money, but you won't get a part-time job. You want better kids, but you won't set an example. Why don't you stop mourning and make a move? Let me prove it to you. Here it is. Keep me moving, Mama Hatcher. Excuse me. So he tells them to roll the stone away. So he goes, it says in verse 38, while he was still angry, he arrived at the tomb, a cave with a stone rolled across the entrance. He said, roll the stone aside. Here it is, y'all missed it. You mourning when you could be moving something. Where is your act of expectation? Because you're mourning, and yet here the Son of God is, and you're focused on the past as if I don't have the power to change it. So when you're mourning, passive people, ask yourself, is there a move that I could be making to change my situation? But because here's what happens. When God sees faith, he adds power to it, and lives begin to change. Situations begin to change. He says, you're mourning, but you could be moving a stone. See, I only do holy stuff, and I let you do the human stuff. No, you cannot raise him from the dead, but you can act like I can. Stop mourning when you could be making a move. Stop laying in your bed thinking about how stuff ought to change, but you won't do anything about it. I get so tired of people complaining but won't change any of their habits, won't change any of their mindset, but because they're mourners instead of movers. I love Matthew 17. It says, if you have a mustard seed of faith, it can move a mountain. I know what you're thinking. How can the tiniest seed, a mustard seed, move something as big as a mountain? It's not that your tiny faith moved the mountain. Your faith moved God, and God faith activates God's power. So when you're in the middle of a situation, instead of mourning, ask God, what could you be moving? God, what act of faith can I be showing in this situation? I know my marriage is dead, tore up from the flow up, but what act of expectation can I be making? Is there a marriage conference that I can go to? Is there an act of kindness that I can show? I can mourn about the marriage, or I can make a move in the marriage. God, I'm tired of my financial situation. Let me help you. Stop mourning about how the man won't give you an opportunity. It's not the man's fault you can't pass a drug test. Instead of mourning, move something. What's that movie where you say you got to move it, move? What is that? You got to move. You got to move the stone. Sometimes you got to show God that you're with him. Sometimes you got to show God, I'm willing to partner with your power. God, I'm not just going to wait on you. I'm going to do my part. I'm going. I know this too deep. This too deep for you. Let me break it down. Let me tell you how Minister Andre and Bishop Big Boy from the Outcast Ministry said it. You better get up. Don't let the days of your life. You got to get up, get out, and get something. Don't spend all your time trying to get. Why are you mourning when you get up, get out, and get something? I know I got to make it plain for chosen folk. Some of us are just too passive. And some of us, I'm about to make up a word here, but it's good, are just too protesty. Because Martha has an opinion about the move. If you keep your eyes on me, I won't know you're a Martha. Martha thinks she knows everything. Martha thinks that she's God. Martha stopped. When Jesus says, move the stone, Martha says, Lord, he's been dead for 4 days. The smell will be terrible. Look, all eyes on me. Any Marthas in the building? When God moves in your spirit to do something, you start thinking about why it can't be done, why it doesn't make sense, why God wouldn't use you. Why she says, God, you too late. Don't you ever tell God he's too late. Don't you ever tell Jesus when he shows up in your life that he can't do what he wants to do. Don't you ever tell God you can't be transformed. Don't ever tell God he doesn't have the power to bring you out. God says move the stone, but she's protested. And straight up, to be honest, like, I was real disappointed in Martha because Martha was Jewish. So often growing up, Jewish children would have to memorize the Torah or the Pentateuch. That's the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. They would have to memorize that. So the first scripture that Martha should have memorized was Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God hovered over the waters. And then God said, let there be light, and there was light. Guess what? She would have been reading that in Hebrew, and she would have seen that the word used for God is actually the Hebrew word for God, Elohim, which is not the singular word for God, it's the plural word for God. So in other words, Martha, you should have known that you were telling the Creator about biology. Listen, Martha, I don't need a biology lesson. I don't need that. I created man. I was the one who created man from the dust of the ground and blew life into his body. Isn't it amazing how we tell the Creator what he can and can't do? When God says move the stone, keep your opinion to yourself and move it. When God tells you to make a move, make the move in faith. Stop calculating everything. Stop second guessing yourself. Stop. I'm petty, so I put up the King James Version just because it made me laugh. Lord, by this time he stinketh. How many times has God told you to do something and you responded, that'll stink? God, I don't want to ask them for forgiveness. That'll stink. God, I don't want to start this business. That'll stink. I don't have the money that I need. I don't have the education that I need. Let me help you. If God says move the stone and you focused on what stinks, you're going to miss the miracle because of your limited thinking. God will do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or think. And all you can think about is what's not right. All you can think about is what won't work. All you can think about is the natural. But But let me help you. God doesn't work in the natural. God works in the supernatural. So the reason he told you to move the stone is because he knew it was going to stink, but he wanted to turn something stink into something sweet. He wanted to turn something dead into a resurrection. Is there anybody that can testify that I used to stink, but God brought life into... Yeah, my dating habits used to stink, but now I'm celibate. Yeah, my spending habits used to stink, but now I'm stacked up. My marriage used to stink, but we more in love now than we ever been. Yeah. God is trying to do a miracle, and all she can think about is what she knows. I love what LaShondra texted me a couple weeks ago, but because she had her own stinketh testimony. Check this text out from LaShondra. She said, I have never seen so much purpose being birthed within me and all those around me. I thought he was pulling me away from those I loved in Texas, but now I see the transition from glory to glory. I just want to say thank you. When I saw that text, I almost shouted right where I was. I said, that's what it means to step out in faith, because she thought the move to Augusta, little old Augusta from big old Texas, was going to stink it. She thought that she wasn't going to have any friends once she got to Augusta. Her relationships were going to stink. She thought that she was leaving big business from Texas and she was going to be in Augusta broke. It was going to stink. But once she got here, she realized that it wasn't going to stink, that it wasn't going to be dead, that it was going to be a resurrection taking place. She didn't know that God had big business and we doing urban farms all over the city. She didn't know that she was going to have more relationships now than she did then. And she said, oh, I just want to thank you. If you follow God, all you want to do is thank him. If you listen to God, all you want to do is give him praise. Don't be worried about what stinks. Worry about the resurrection. You got passive folk that won't do nothing but complain. I wish this was different, or I need to. Stop talking about you need to and make a move. It's aggravating. And then you got protesty people who put their opinion above God's. And then we see the power. Watch this. Then Jesus shouted. Woo, I'm gonna have to make this quick because it's 7:28. And Jesus shouted, Lazarus! Let me try that again. And Jesus shouted, Lazarus, come out. Then Jesus shouted, Lazarus, come out. That's not the impressive part, because anybody could do that. Martha could have went to the tomb and said, Lazarus, come out. Mary could have went to the tomb and said, Lazarus, come out. The part that ought to get you excited is verse 44. And the dead man came. No, y'all didn't get it. I thought you'd be more excited than that. Then Jesus shouted, Lazarus, come out. And the dead man came out. I know why you looking at me like that, because you think this is about Lazarus. No, you missed it, homie. This is about you. Hey, Miko, come out. Danny, come out. Linda, come out. Sashandra, come out. Brennan, come out. Devron, come out. Yannik, come out. Dr. Jackson, come out. Minister Jackson, come out. This is not about Lazarus. This is about you. When Jesus calls your name, You need to come out. Don't you worry about your past. Come on out. Don't you worry about the wrong that you did. You come on out. You don't worry about. Oh, y'all not with me. When Jesus calls your name, you come out. You don't protest. You don't be passive. You let God's power move in you. You come out. Is anybody coming out this year? I'm coming out. This bad marriage, I'm coming out of this debt. I'm coming out of this jacked up relationship. I'm coming out of this perversion. I'm coming out of this addiction. I'm coming out. I want the world to know. I let it show. I'm coming. Hey, I want the, come on, got to, oh, that sounds good. Let the devil know I want the, got to, yeah, this was a word, Diana. Hey, I want the, got to,
I'm coming.
Hey, I want the, I'm coming. I want the world. I'm not hiding my coming out. Yeah, you don't have to like it. You don't got to agree with it. I want the world.
I want the world to know. Got to let it show. I'm coming. I want the world to know. Got to let it show.
Part 2 next week. I'm not done. I'm going to leave you with this thought. What do you need to come out of? Because as my man, Pastor Ralph Douglas West said, on this day there was a surprise at the cemetery. But this wasn't the only surprise at the cemetery, because one day Mary Magdalene and the crew on one early Sunday morning was walking up to the tomb, and then the angel said, I know why you're here. I know who you're looking for, but he ain't here. Hey, y'all. Winona, do we got that verse? Do we have that verse? He says, I know what you're looking for, but he ain't here. See, that's my problem with folk, because I'm wondering if Jesus is not the Son of God, if Jesus didn't have power over death. My question is, where's the body? They could have ended this movement we call Christianity real easy. Just show me the body. No, the disciples did not come and steal Jesus' body. They had Roman guards standing there. They would have been killed in an instant. Let me tell you why you can't find the body on earth. Because it's in heaven. He said, I know you were looking for Jesus who was crucified. He isn't here. He is. That's not the good part. Anybody, here's the good part. Just as he said, anybody that can predict their own death and resurrection, I'm rolling with. And this is why we let women preach at Chosen. Because then he says to the women, no men were there. He says to the women, now go tell my brothers. Why we don't let women preach when they were the first ones to preach the gospel? Go tell them I'm not where they thought I was. There was a surprise at the cemetery. Yeah, lab, Easter ain't about a bunny rabbit, it's about a God. Yeah, we do little hunts and all that. Ain't nothing wrong with having fun, but let me keep it real with you. Ain't about no Easter basket. It's about a God that has power over death.